Guys, if you're enjoying the clips that we are putting out on this channel, you can consume all our podcasts in small clips right here. We chunk them together and release them just for your convenience. Do not forget to press the subscribe button. So then there is a significant divide between, say, a North Indian Hindu and क्योंकि इनके भी constituents Hindus ही हैं. Like there's no religious sort of demarcation between, right? सिर्फ cultural demarcation है.
There is, let me put it this way.
Yeah.
We don't know the extent to which many states down south have changed in terms of demographics, in terms of this. I mean, Andhra, people say, is going to be majority Christian state. It's just that people are not declaring it openly. Because the moment, you say you're Christian, you lose a lot of amenities that you get otherwise. Huge swathes of South India are being converted ruthlessly.
And systematically?
Totally systematically. I mean, in Tirupati, the preponderance of churches that you have in Tirupati, the preponderance of mosques that you have in some regions of Kerala is unbelievable. People are just not aware of it. Or they think, yaar, कम है, we are 1 billion Hindus strong. एक तो ये भी sentiment है ना, कि हम 1 billion है, बाकी हो जाए. पर भाई ऐसा नहीं है. Rahul Roshan who says this, that we may say that we are 78% of the population, but in effect, we are actually fast becoming less than 50%.
And that is because of the conversion.
Conversion, so many other things. You leave the fold of Hinduism even without leaving the fold of Hinduism. I mean, who else are communists?
Right.
I mean, would you say urban Naxals, they want to destroy Hinduism, right?
Right.
So, and yet they say we are proudly Hindu.
Self-hating Hindus हैं.
Yeah.
हाँ.
So, एक वो भी है. और एक तो वाकई convert हो गए.
Right.
So,
मेरा एक दोस्त है सर पंजाब में, मैं उससे सिर्फ उसके
पंजाब, मतलब unbelievable, the kind of proselytization,
मैं हिल गया
the conversion, crazy.
वो मेरे को कह रहा है मेरे बगल वाले गांव में कोई, मैं कह रहा हूँ सिख कन्वर्ट हो रहे हैं. सिख कन्वर्ट होने का तो मैंने कभी कॉन्सेप्ट ही नहीं सुना है. वो पता है पूरा गांव, ही इज लाइक, मैं उससे कभी नहीं मिला, हम सिर्फ वीडियो गेम खेलते रहा. और मेरे को कह रहा है मेरे बगल वाले पूरे गांव में सिर्फ सब कन्वर्ट हो गए. एंड सी, रिलीजन इज अ मैटर ऑफ पर्सनल फेथ. मैं कौन होता हूँ किसी की उस पर कन्वर्ट करने, वो कोई कमेंट करने वाला. बट ही सेज द इंसेंटिव स्ट्रक्चर इज फ्री एजुकेशन. तो इट्स एन इकोनॉमिक इंसेंटिव स्ट्रक्चर
100%,
जिससे फेथ कन्वर्जन हो रही है. और डज दैट लेंड इटसेल्फ टू अ मार्जिनल, मतलब कितना डरूं मैं इस चीज से? Is there something to be afraid of?
Yes.
ठीक है कर लो यार, तुम्हें
पहले मैं देखो सोचता था, see, it's not like a stream of science. कि यार you believe in something scientific and you don't believe in it. और दोनों लड़ गए. टेबल पे आके कोई कह रहा है कि नहीं, I don't believe in let's say theory of evolution. The other guy says, well, I believe in theory of evolution. They come on the table, they put their facts, they fight metaphorically, and they go home either convinced one way or the other, or they say like, we've entrenched views and my views are even more strengthened now.
Right.
Religion is not like that, So the moment you convert, you are forced to forget who you were, what your roots were, who your ancestors were, what they fought for, everything. It's blank slate. I mean, if you read Naipaul, who it is one of my favorites in terms of the most perceptive thinkers in the last 100 odd years. And his 2 iconic books that preempted this whole Islamic quote-unquote invasion that has happened in the last 40 years, Among the Believers and Beyond Belief. So he went to these newly converted Islamic countries as well as the old ones. And he put out this theory that, you're forced to forget everything that you belong to. It's like you're given a clean slate. And that is what has happened with Pakistanis as well. I mean, they actually believe their roots are Turkey. In the sand dunes, Turkey, वहां पे वो उनको गालियां देते हैं, they think, अरे लोली क्लीनर है. यहाँ पे तो वो संत महात्मा बना रखा है कि हम तो वहीं से आए, अपने रूट्स भूल गए. The problem is, चलो वो भी कर जाओ आप, because that's a personal decision. How can I stop you from, if you're wrong, be wrong. I mean, I'm a free speech absolutist in that sense. What happens is that when you start to become so much of a tribal that the value systems that are endowed to you newly, you begin to thrust them onto others. That is the danger. So in Jharkhand, there are places where they say कि अब Sunday को छुट्टी नहीं होगी, अब Friday को होगी. There are places where so many things are banned. There are places where so many things are now newly opened. In Kashmir, as you know, famously, theatres were banned. The sitting chief minister even advocated stoning, death by stoning as a punishment. That is dangerous. When the value systems that are inherently alien to a free thinking culture, civilization, when they are thrust, that's the danger. And we simply are not able to comprehend that any of that thing can happen. It is happening, right? I mean, you talk to people from Kerala, and honestly, I'm not saying without any, kind of thinking one way or the other to prejudice you. You talk to, your uncles and you say, how were things on the road 40 years ago? And they would say it's changed drastically in Mallapuram and all those districts. You see burqas now as a norm. 40 years ago, everyone would be staring at someone who was wearing a burqa. It was so uncommon. That's how things change.
I have a couple of questions because it seems like you look at it as an existential risk of sorts.
It is.
Right?
For me, it is, yeah.
My first question is, जो आप कह रहे हो, this imposition, this evangelism that comes with this kind of conversion behavior. So आप कह रहे हो, देखो, तुम clean slate कर दो, मेरे को कोई दिक्कत नहीं है.
Yes.
But अगर तुम evangelize करने लगो, उसको public policy में introduce करने लगो, उसके outlets law में निकलने लगे, तो there is a problem.
Yes.
But is that not the case with, say, the beef ban? Is that not the case with Gujarat में alcohol की sale?
Yes.
Is that not also the same ilk of things?
Well, okay, so let me explain. That's a beautiful question. पहले तो मैं जैसे जो न्यू वैल्यू सिस्टम्स आते हैं वो हमेशा थर्ड वर्ल्ड कंट्रीज को सब्जुगेट करते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल Catholics, they don't believe in using protection. What do you call this? Condoms.
Right.
Birth control. Funny, it took me 2 seconds to come to that phrase.
As a biologist at that.
Okay. Now you talk to a Brit.
Right.
In America or Italy, Catholic, home of Catholicism, and they say, no, don't use birth. Chal, side pe ho bhai. Kya bol raha hai? The same Pope goes to Philippines, newly converted, or, says don't use. There's a population explosion over there. So in countries that ironically were the birthplace of these religions, they are more forward-looking, more reformist, because reform has happened in Christianity. They say, go to hell, we'll do what we want to do. That is not the case in the newly converted countries. That is an added danger to that.
Okay.
Now let me come to your question. So I have always been against prohibition, alcohol prohibition and all. But funnily enough, a lot of these draconian things that you talked about, beef ban, you talked about alcohol ban, our constitution, like it or not, was heavily influenced by the vagaries and madness of Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi was against prohibition. In fact, he said, मैं education को हटा दो, वो मैं सह लूँगा. लेकिन alcohol कोई पी ले ये मैं नहीं सह पाऊँ. He said this. I'm paraphrasing him. He said this. I've tweeted the exact phrase. He has said, killing of a man is less than killing of a cow. तो ये theories हमारे constitution में directive principles में आ गई कि alcohol prohibition का आ गया, cow slaughter ban आ गया. तो ये सब चीजें रिलीजन के उस पे नहीं है. ये सब चीजें महात्मा गांधी की वर्शिप करके आई हैं हमारे देश.
बट इनडायरेक्टली महात्मा गांधी हैज अ हिंदू इन्फ्लुएंस.
अब महात्मा गांधी अब उनको भगवान बना रखा है, महात्मा बना रखा है.
राइट.
सो अब लोगों ने ये सोचना शुरू कर दिया. आई मीन यू रीड विवेकानंदा, यू रीड बीफ बैन. या सो दिस इज अ महात्मा गांधीश inspired phenomena.
ठीक है. And see, I have a lot of...
And I'm against it. I have written authoritatively with facts against prohibition. When Bihar, Nitish Kumar, I was against it. I am against Gujarat. And I have given economic reasons as well.
हाँ, टैक्स कलेक्ट कर लो.
अरे यार, इतना पैसा लूज होता है गुजरात में.
और इतना क्राइम बढ़ता है क्योंकि ब्लैक में बिक रही है.
एक वो है, लेकिन उसके प्रोज एंड कॉन्स ये भी हैं कि कई जगह इतना ज़्यादा अल्कोहल, जैसे तमिलनाडु, व्हेन द स्टेट डिसाइड्स कि हम अपना सारा रेवेन्यू हम अल्कोहल से लेंगे, तो वो भी गलत है ना. दे हैव गॉन टू द एक्सट्रीम.
Agreed. Guys, if you're interested in more content like this where it actually makes you think and explore how you think inside your head, dude, subscribe, man.